Hi guys, this is Susie. Welcome back to my garden, my beautiful ducklings. Today I want to continue on the topic of different ways to manifest. I did the videos on thank you, and today I want to work on the technique of isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful is a question. It's an amazing question. It's making your brain focus forward and explain to you why things are wonderful. There was a woman that Neville Goddard talked about who walked around and said, "Isn't it wonderful? I'm Mrs. J.E." And that's all she did to manifest the love of her life. We get so caught up in the different techniques and the different tools that we can use to manifest that we make it complicated. We literally create a nuclear explosion trying to grab pieces of this and pieces of that and pieces of this and pieces of that to fit it all together so that when we manifest, it's simple, easy, and effortless. And the reason I preach consistently about making it simple, I used to live a very complicated life. I ran a business. I was working from sun up to sundown. I had 4 kids. I had a marriage. I had 60 mowing clients. Life was crazy for me. I couldn't breathe. When I would fall asleep, it would be for a couple of hours and then I would be up. I was so stressed out that I could not physically function. If somebody had told me that I could change my life in 10 words or less, I would have told you you're lying. It's not physically possible. But guess what? It is. And I tried to find 10 words or less to get you guys to manifest your dreams. So technique number 1 that I discussed was thank you. Thank you, I'm living an amazing life. Technique number 2, isn't it wonderful? I'm living an amazing life. So when I'm using these phrases, it's always in a focused forward motion. So I'm focusing everything forward so that I can show you shortcuts to what I've had to learn. Not because I think I know better or because there's so much confusion. It's stuff that I physically went through on a day-to-day basis. It's stuff that I tried to find the answers to for 10 years. So if you want to take 10 years and find an answer, I've been divorced for 7, and I was looking for the answers before the divorce, to how to change my life, how to live my dreams. So when I read, isn't it wonderful? I was like, that can't be possible. How can it be so simple to say 3 words? Because anything you say after those 3 words become amazing. Simple, effective, yet amazing. Isn't it wonderful? I am living my dream life. Isn't it wonderful? Everything's always working out for me. Isn't it wonderful? Everything comes to me easily, effortlessly, and quickly. These are questions that we ask every day, guys. And when we ask a question every day, most of the time we're looking behind us. And we see the reflection of my Christmas tree in my patio door with the lights on my patio door and the ornaments. They're behind me. They're absolutely freaking gorgeous, especially if I turn around and look at them. I have a beautiful white Christmas tree behind me. But I'm looking forward. And you don't see what I'm seeing forward. You don't see what is behind the camera. It's my beautiful dining room. It's a home that I created with simple words. This is my home. Isn't it wonderful? I'm living in a penthouse. I live on the 3rd floor. I have a corner apartment. Guess what? It's my penthouse. Isn't it wonderful that I have a penthouse? When you can take a simple apartment on a 3rd floor and turn it into a penthouse, well, obviously it is, because I'm on the 3rd floor. There's nobody above me. I have 2 corners. So I have a beautiful corner apartment. I want to amplify that. So I turn it into, isn't it wonderful? I'm living in a penthouse. Now I feel wealthy. Now I feel blessed. Now I feel lucky. Isn't it wonderful? Everything's always working out for me. I've been living here for over 6 years now. And I always managed to pay the bills. When I was struggling, I was still able to keep my penthouse because my mentality was, I don't know how I keep my penthouse, but I do. Isn't it wonderful I'm able to keep my penthouse? I create everything in my life by simple words, by simple thought process. I talk about how wonderful everything is in my life. I hear you guys doubt. Isn't it wonderful? I no longer do that. Isn't it wonderful? I'm always forward focused. Isn't it wonderful no matter what I do or say, everything works out for me? So if I have a bad thought, I can go, oh, that's a bad thought. Isn't it wonderful that I have an amazing life and a bad thought doesn't affect me? When you're focusing on tools, they're great. They are a placebo. Again, it's a placebo. It's like my remote that turns my camera on and off. It's like my watch that tells me not only the time, but if I happen to go away from my phone, it mirrors my phone so I know what's going on in my world. Isn't it wonderful that I have a beautiful life? Isn't it wonderful I make more than I spend? Those are things that I did to simply change my life. It doesn't mean every aspect of your life has to be perfect. To say, isn't it wonderful I'm living my dream life? But the more you say these words, the more you focus forward, the more natural they become to you. Isn't it wonderful I'm living my dream life? Isn't it wonderful I make more than I spend? Isn't it wonderful I'm a millionaire? And why am I a millionaire? Because I have $2.7 million in my bank account. Isn't it wonderful I have a Camaro? And why do I have a Camaro? Because I'm lucky. Things can be really simple. It doesn't matter if you're manifesting a cup of coffee, a relationship, or a car. These things all have their place in our life. The cup of coffee, it doesn't really mean anything. It's literally walking over to the table or going into my kitchen and picking up a cup. A person, now we have emotions in there. But if it's wonderful that I have amazing relationships, my emotions are coming from a whole different state. Isn't it wonderful? Puts you in that state, everything's working out. So isn't it wonderful Jared loves me? Isn't it wonderful Jared's my husband? Those things become simple, amazing words that I'm going to say every day for my married life. Isn't it wonderful I have an amazing daughter in Savannah? Isn't it wonderful Savannah has an amazing boyfriend, Josh? Isn't it wonderful we have a beautiful 3-year-old? Because we all know I love the 3-year-old and you've met her. Isn't it wonderful that I can teach you guys through the internet how to simplify your life and make that life absolutely amazing in simple words? Stop complicating everything you do or say and start focusing on the simple things. Isn't it wonderful roses smell beautiful? Isn't it wonderful that they make bubble bath that smells like roses? Isn't it wonderful they make fragrances that I can plug into my electrical outlet that makes my whole penthouse smell like a rose? Now, roses are beautiful on flowers. I wouldn't want my house to smell like it. I prefer my house to have a pine smell this time of year. So if anybody can tell me what's a really good pine smell, because there is one from Yankee Candle that smells amazing, but not for my little warmers that I get from Bath Works. You know, the place in the mall where you get the candles, the lotion, the body spray. Because there's one I manifested. Isn't it wonderful that I got a body spray that was discontinued back in stock, and I bought more. And when I asked the lady, when is it coming in again? She said, oh, it'll be in the spring. Don't worry about it. So now my fragrance is no longer discontinued because I walk around and I don't go, if this is going to happen, what do I need to do to make this happen? My thought pattern is, it's wonderful. I know it's going to happen, and I'm not worried about the time, because if I have the remote, I'm not looking for it. If I have the relationship, I'm not looking for it. So if I'm living in the end and I'm walking around, as Neville says, isn't it wonderful? Everything magically works out for me because now the minions are moving around in the world to make this beautiful little thing come to life. I'm on Instagram. I love the actor John Schneider. I got a comment on one of my Instagrams that I posted on one of my pictures, and he liked it and he responded. That's not even something I thought, oh my gosh, I love John Schneider, Bo Duke, it'd be amazing if he comments on my Instagram. Because I live in this state of, isn't it wonderful, amazing things happen? John Schneider commented on my Instagram, and it turns out that he follows me on my Instagram. It's not the first time I've talked to him, but because you come from that state of magic always coming around you, your life becomes instantly wonderful. And the more you say, isn't it wonderful? Everything always works out for me. Isn't it wonderful? Magical things always happen to me. Isn't it wonderful? I get the most amazing gifts. That was a gift to get a comment from John Schneider. It wasn't I sat down and scripted it and thought about it. It wasn't I sat down and said, wonder what John Schneider could comment on my Instagram. My state is what leads, and it's what leads everybody's life. And if you're in the state of, isn't it wonderful, magical things always happen for me, or isn't it wonderful, I'm so blessed, isn't it wonderful, I'm so lucky, isn't it wonderful, something wonderful is always happening for me, the things that will come into your life, you can't script. You can't write them down. And the way things actually play out, you're going to blow your mind with how it comes. And you'll be like, whoa, that is the most natural thing in the world. I know I manifested it, but the way it happened, it's just beyond magical. Can you imagine not being with the love of your life for a year and a half? And you're just walking around and you're focusing and then you're trying to be with that person and you come up with a phrase and all of a sudden that person is blowing up your phone asking you to marry him. And then since they did that, they talk to you every day. We didn't complicate it by saying it had to happen by a said date. We didn't complicate it by saying it had to be a certain way. We simply asked and focused in a direction that gave us the desire. And because we weren't going to die if we didn't have it, we weren't attached. I can obsess all day long about Jared being my husband. But if I'm obsessing, well, when is he going to call me? What time is he going to come home? Why isn't my watch going off saying I got a text? Why isn't this happening? Why isn't that happening? Why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing that? Instead, I focus on, isn't it wonderful? He's my husband. Because if I'm living in the end, I don't care about text messages. I don't care about phone calls. I don't care what's for dinner. All I care about is that this amazing man is my husband. And when you simply break it down into little bitty bits and pieces, you guys are scripting your life away. You spend 40 hours working, 80 hours scripting, 56 hours a week sleeping, hopefully, and listening to subliminals to get your dream life. I don't do any of that. I literally walk around and say, isn't it wonderful today's a magical day? Isn't it wonderful today I got? Isn't it wonderful today this happened? Isn't it wonderful today that no matter what I do or say, life always works out for me? And when you live in that state, you become addicted to bliss. And then you're walking around going, oh my gosh, Susie's so right. So I can sit there and say, isn't it wonderful that you love me? So tell me why. Isn't it wonderful you're addicted to me? Tell me why. Isn't it wonderful what I'm sharing makes your life amazing? Tell me why. Simple little things that you change and simple little things that you appreciate, because these are two techniques that I use every day. There's a third one, and that's why questions. But yesterday it was about thank you. Today is about isn't it wonderful? And tomorrow I'll explain why. But for now, if you chose one technique, thank you or isn't it wonderful, and you did that for 21 days, literally walked around and said, isn't it wonderful this is the best cup of coffee I've ever had? Isn't it wonderful this is the best conversation I've ever had? Isn't it wonderful this is the best day ever? Isn't it wonderful I got an amazing gift today? Isn't it wonderful my new car showed up today? Isn't it wonderful I have $2.7 million in my bank account? Isn't it wonderful my dog is so well behaved? Isn't it wonderful my kids behave? Isn't it wonderful my grandchildren behave? Isn't it wonderful everything just magically works out for me? You're going to find that for 21 days you've created a new state of bliss by simply putting 3 words into your daily mental and verbal diet. Because your imagination is God, your thoughts is your creation, and your words are your prayer. So if you're going to imagine and control your mental diet with your thoughts and your words, make sure that your prayers to the minions are, isn't it wonderful? You always, always make my life full of love, bliss, and joy and happiness, and that I'm always getting magical things and people are always doing nice things for me, and no matter where I go or what I do, it's the best moment I've ever had. And I can't wait for the next moment, because it's wonderful that it's going to be even better. When you live in your states, you don't think about anything other than, isn't it wonderful? That's exactly what you're going to get. A wonderful, magical life filled with so much that you cannot even script. Honestly, guys, I don't script 80 hours a week. I don't even attempt to. I live my life. I have friends. I have family. I've got you guys. And I want to shortcut your manifestations. And I want you to live a blissful life where you get everything you desire and then some. So simplify it. Make it easy, fun, and adventurous. And live your life in the state of, isn't it wonderful? My life is simple, fun, and adventurous. And tell me how that comes about. Because I really want to know how 3 words changed your life. You guys have an absolutely magical holiday season. Love you, and until next time.